although some regions, like Tuscany, use it very sparingly. Fresh dried black peppercorns, saffron, and coriander feature prominently. Nutmeg is used in savoury dishes and desserts, and vanilla is a popular dessert spice. Ginger is rarely used in Italy, although it is very popular in the Apulia and Basilicata regions, showing just how diverse the cultural flavours of Italy are. Still to come on Cultural Flavours, Italy. We turn our freshly made pasta into a delicious mushroom taste sensation, and we discover the secret of making perfect, authentic Italian coffee. In Italy, wild mushrooms have always been a favourite part of the local cuisine. With mushrooms available everywhere, anybody can make this dish at home. You may even want to splash out on a famously expensive ingredient.
The mushrooms have got a beautiful aroma, so they're able to put them in all sorts of dishes. They might cook it up as an omelette for the younger family, or pop it into another slow cooked meal so that it can be used in very many different ways. They'll actually even put them into some sort of cheese, especially the truffles, so that they can continue to have the truffles mature in their lovely cheese.
For this dish, you will need a selection of mushrooms. You can use fresh local varieties or a combination of fresh and dried. You will also need a dash of olive oil and some dry vermouth. First, take your Italian parsley and chop it finely. It's important to use fresh parsley in your pasta dishes, as the dried alternative can lack flavour. Put it aside, as you will need to add it to your dish much later. The next step is to slice your mushrooms. The trick here is to try and keep the size uniform so they cook evenly. Remove your dried mushrooms from the water and squeeze off the excess moisture. Then chop them evenly. Keep the water, you will need it later. Take the stalk of celery and remove the leaves. Chop into lengths, slice along the grain, then finely dice into small blocks to avoid large chunks of this strongly flavoured vegetable masking the delicious mushroom flavours. Next, chop your garlic and slice your red onion. Put the ingredients aside and heat up your pan.
So, to prepare the sauce, we're going to start with a nice fry pan, a little bit of oil. We want the oil to get nice and hot, almost smoking. The first thing we're going to add is our mushrooms, so they get a nice bit of colour on them. Brings out all the nice flavours, so they don't go soggy.
After the fresh mushrooms have braised a little, add the dried mushrooms, then the celery, onion and garlic, and a sprinkle of salt. Reduce the heat and cook it gently to bring out all the combined flavours. Add a dash of vermouth and some of the liquid stock you had the dried mushrooms in, and your Italian sauce will be taking shape. Next, add the butter and cook on a gentle heat with the juices. When the butter emulsifies, it will produce a nice rich sauce. Finally, add your chopped Italian parsley and stir it right through the sauce. Then set it aside to rest while you cook your pasta. Put your heavily salted water on the boil. Ensure that it is a strong, rolling boil before adding the fresh pasta you prepared earlier. Stir it around a little to prevent the pasta from sticking together. Fresh pasta won't take long to cook, about 3 to 5 minutes. Drain your pasta in a colander and put your sauce back on the heat. Make sure it is very shiny. You can add more stock or butter to get your sauce to the desired consistency. Add your drained pasta through the sauce in the pan and stir through. Make sure you have covered the pasta entirely with your mushroom sauce. Then you are ready to serve. Grate some Parmigiano Reggiano, commonly known as Parmesan cheese, over the dish. Just enough to give it some bite and some extra saltiness, but not so much it causes the dish to go gluggy. Finally, if you have them, shave some black truffle over the dish just before serving. Now, enjoy your authentic fettuccine al funghi. Italy is said to be one of the healthiest nations on the planet, and this is in large to do with a healthy diet, rich in vegetables and vegetable oils. Of course, the most important vegetable in Italian cooking is the tomato. There are many varieties of tomato that are used in soups, sauces, and pasta dishes. Brought to Italy in the 18th century, the tomato has become synonymous with Italian cuisine. The Italians love fresh vegetables and are famous for their salad dishes. Brought to Italy in medieval times, cucumbers are now part of Italian culinary culture. Root vegetables like carrots, radish, turnips, and beetroot all feature prominently in Italian cuisine, as do onions and leeks. Cabbages, cauliflowers, spinach, and rhubarb are also part of the Italian diet. Squash and pumpkins are often used as an accompaniment. Bell peppers and potatoes also have become part of Italian food culture. Melons, like cantaloupes named after the town of the same name near Rome, are often presented as a dessert. Asparagus is a common ingredient in many Italian dishes. Mushrooms are highly regarded in Italian cuisine, especially in the provinces in and around Tuscany. Of course, Italian cooking features all kinds of mushrooms, especially the porcini mushroom, but you can use local varieties in your own Italian-inspired dishes. Coffee originated in the highlands of Ethiopia and quickly spread across the Islamic world during the Middle Ages. It was only introduced to Europe via Italy as late as the 16th century by Venetian merchants who had been trading with Muslims from the East. Yet, we must thank Italians for defining coffee culture as we know it today. Italians are deeply passionate about their coffee, so naturally the quality of bean is exceptionally important. Coffee comes in two varieties, and Italians overwhelmingly prefer Arabica over the cheaper Robusta bean. Roasting beans changes their colour, taste, smell, and Italians enjoy a full roast bean, which are rich brown in colour and have a slightly oily surface. Italian baristas have created a wide range of ways in which to enjoy coffee. Cafe Espresso is brewed by forcing hot water under pressure through finely ground coffee. This process produces a highly concentrated shot of coffee, which actually forms the basis of many other drinks, such as a macchiato, which is simply a shot of espresso marked with a small drop of steamed milk. The most well-known Italian-style coffee is, of course, the cappuccino, and this cultural flavour of Italy has become increasingly popular right across the globe. Cafe latte is usually drunk at breakfast time, made with a full glass of steamed milk and a shot of espresso. This wholesome drink provides the perfect start to the day for many Italians. Coffee is drunk in a variety of ways, but generally speaking, Italians only add milk earlier in the day. With the exception of breakfast, coffee is rarely served alone and is usually enjoyed after a meal. The drinks, The roasting styles, barista techniques, and the popular social aspects of drinking coffee have all been heavily influenced by Italy's love of the coffee bean. Next on Cultural Flavours, Italy. We explore a famous Tuscan twice-baked biscuit and its accompaniment and discover how to serve this delicious Italian treat. There are hundreds of types of pasta, but generally authentic pasta is made from durum wheat flour or semolina, which accounts for its yellow tinge. Durum wheat is believed to have been introduced to Sicily by the Arabs in the 7th century, and pasta has become the national dish of Italy. Of course, fresh is best, and authentic Italian pasta has texture and flavour characteristics that is difficult to replicate with dried alternatives. Having said that, there are a multitude of dried pasta options that keep well, so it has become a staple in many kitchens across the world. Italy produces 25% of all the olives grown globally from hundreds of varieties of olive tree. Olives in the south of the country produce the majority of olive oil thanks to its climate. In the north, due to the frosts, olives must be harvested much earlier, so their yield is much lower. Olive oil is often used like butter as a topping for bread and for cooking. Olives are eaten on their own, as an accompaniment, in salads and also cooked dishes. Italian meals often feature breads, and there is a wide range to choose from. Italian food is rich with tradition, and there are few foods more traditional than biscotti.
Tuscany, they love their biscotti. So they'll go to the local market and they'll get their flour and their sugar and the nuts, whatever nuts mum wants to use that might be in season, and they'll go home and there it will be in the beautiful kitchen, and they'll start mixing the flour, the eggs, the butter, the nuts, and then they'll roll and then they'll bake. And then with the biscotti, they need to slice them again, and then they'll need to rebake, so it's the double baked biscuit. That process, of course, brings the family together because it takes quite a long time for them to be able to do that. And then more especially, those biscotti are shared with their family and their friends. And because they are so hot and so crisp, they'll be able to share them for the rest of the week.
You won't need to look too hard for the ingredients in this recipe. Place your butter in a bowl and add your caster sugar. Mix the ingredients with a spatula until you have a consistency like this. The technique here has more than a few similarities with pasta preparation. So, just like making pasta dough, add your first egg and mix it into the sugar and butter. Work the ingredients together to achieve a smooth paste. Do the same with all the eggs until you have a fairly liquid, smooth and even paste. The next step is to add your flour, but only a little, and mix it through. Just like the pasta, you don't want to add all the flour at once. This technique ensures you have a lump-free mixture. As you add the flour, it develops a more dough-like texture, but still a liquid. This is the time to add the other ingredients. Put your lemon zest and nuts in and give it a little stir. You'll soon realize that mixing with the spatula is no longer an option, and you will have to get your hands in. If your dough is still very sticky, add a little more flour until you can comfortably pick up the mixture without it falling and drooping from your hands. Take an oven tray and line with grease-proof paper. Place your biscotti dough, stretched out a little, on the tray, and now you are ready to place it in your 180 degrees Celsius preheated oven. Bake for about 25 minutes or till firm. Remove the biscotti from the oven and allow to cool. When your loaf has reduced in temperature and feels firmer to the touch, you can place it on a cutting board and begin to slice into biscuits. Keep the slices thin and even. Lightly dust your papered oven tray with caster sugar and place the cut biscuits on the tray. Proceed to dust these with a little more caster sugar. Place back in the oven at 160 degrees Celsius for about 10 minutes. Your biscotti is now ready to serve, and there is no better way to enjoy biscotti than the traditional way. Although delicious on its own, biscotti is traditionally served with Vinsanto, or holy wine. You dip the biscotti into the Vinsanto and eat the biscuit, then dip again. Biscotti and Vinsanto are cultural flavour of Italy that you can enjoy at home. In a world where food is more often just consumed rather than savoured, Italian cooking has shown the way with simple, elegant dishes, uncomplicated flavours, and lightly seasoned sensations. Join us next time as we take you on another gastronomic journey so you can experience the tastes of the globe at home.